Yeah. Anyway, on to the bulk of our episode. From social work to security contract, the incredible journey of Barbara Bag Secured Leave. Now, if we mentioned before in our opening monologue, it seems that not very many people are interested in Barbara Lee's no-bid security contract that came to almost $70 million. But if you're watching Gotham Oakland, you're interested because you want to know more. So let's go to the only reporter brave enough to cover this, Susan Reynolds of The Voice of San Francisco, who released this article on April 1st, 11 days ago, and somehow no one has picked it up. I wonder if this was, say, a moderate Democrat like Lauren Taylor, who they tried to compare to Donald Trump, if they would have picked this story up. I'm pretty sure that they would. Instead, we have a local media that is absolutely dog walked by the Democratic Party and our local progressive cabal. On to the article. The $63 million woman Barbara Lee company tied to 287 contract actions, many while she was in political office. These themes seem to replay themselves over and over again in these incestuous political circles. As we've said again before in our opening monologue, Community Ready Corps and Anti-Police Terror Project have tried and failed the exact same schemes. According to federal procurement data system, over $44 million went to guard services. Barbara Lee has had a successful career in politics and business, allegedly. I'm not going to read the entire article, but let me go ahead and give you some more here. If minority businesses receive federal contract, their share of the U.S. business sector will have reached an additional $64 billion. We're calling on the governor to release all 21 to 2023 data so we can prove equity in contracting. Well, let's look at some of Barbara Lee's contracts. It looks like that in 8 years, she had 65 contract actions, coming to $15 million in obligations when she was a staff member of U.S. Representative Ron Dellum. She was a private citizen shortly thereafter. She received $5 million from 35 contract actions. And then as a California State Assembly member, she received 118 contract actions totaling $32 million. As a state senator, $5.5 million, and as a U.S. House of Representative congressperson, $4.9 million for a total of $63 million. And we aren't the first persons to bring this up. There was actually some scuttlebutt about this when she ran for office in 1996. The Oakland Tribune ran a story about the no-bid contract. One of her opponents, Bob Candle, in the California 9th Senate District, raised questions about Lee's family-owned management consulting firm, W.C. Perez Company, and Lee's associate. Now, this Perez Company was run by her mother. Again, very similar, Community Ready Corps, owned by Earl Harper, Carol Fife's husband's mother in Louisiana. Our family seems to always be involved, just like the mafia, right? We keep it all in the family because remember, money buys everything. And it goes through all of the no-bid contracts that she's had. Now, I'm actually going to read this part right here because I know it's probably too small for you to see it. Bob Candle, one of her opponents in the California 9th State Senate District election, raised questions about Lee's family-owned management consulting firm, W.C. Perez Company, Incorporated, and Lee's associate, which had contracts to supply security guards and other support services to Federal Department of Agriculture and Energy, the Army, and the Environmental Protection Agency, and the U.S. Geological Survey. According to Campbell, the value of the contract exceeded $8.3 million, but that number could not be confirmed even by them. Interesting how that works. We need Doge. Our review of the Federal Procurement Data Systems record shows Lee's companies secured 4 contracts through the Small Business Administration that are not open to competitive bidding. And that's the big part here. This is what I mean by incestual and nepotism in office. When you say that this type of favoritism is systemically racist because it goes to only white people, I would agree with you, Barbara Lee. The answer is not a race to the bottom, so that when you finally take over, you do the exact same, and as an excuse, you point to when the white man did it. That just means it's okay. That means you're saying that it's okay. This is why I have a big problem with black supremacy. People who are like, black man is over the white man and we're God and all of that. I get it. It makes you feel good. And we need a boost because we've been held back so long. And America's original sin still has this derivative effects. We know that we inherit trauma through our mitochondria. And anyone religious knows you inherit the sins and trauma from your parents and your forefathers. So, yes, that wasn't that long ago, and there's still so much trauma and mutual shame between our communities from slavery and from the extremely racist actions after slavery and the persecution of black people that continued for a long time and still continues to this day in some circles. Maybe not as systemically as before, because we've, as you've seen, captured government. We have finally got control, got presidents elected, got Congress people elected. All of these black people, CEOs, all of these people getting into positions of power, finally breaking through these glass ceilings of systemic racism. And what do? We do the exact same thing as the white man we demonize. So I'll go on. But these companies were not the only ones to bid in the contract. According to federal records supplied by the Campbell campaign, the article stated, Campbell suggested Lee heard about these contracts through her position as an assembly member, state-based conversion council, and chairwoman of the Assembly Select Committee on Defense Conversion. Let me put it this way. Had she not been working for Ron Dellums, I'm sure she would not have known about those contracts, Campbell said. It doesn't smell right to me. Now, insider trading is illegal. Is insider and competitive bidding for no bid contracts illegal? It's at least unethical. And people should be talking about this, especially since it seems that the people that she's trained, her proteges, have attempted these exact same schemes and grifts in Oakland, California, leading to the dismantling, demoralization, and defunding of Oakland's police department. Now we have a public safety crisis with very little cops. Barbara Lee, ironically, has a platform for 850 officers, something that Cat Brooks used to demonize, and now all of a sudden she looks the other way and applauds. There goes that progressive hypocrisy again. There's more. The Voice compiled 96 pages of contract actions referring to W.C. Parrish, including the $677,000 no-bid award to the Edwards Air Force Base and $247,000 award to the Environmental Protection Agency, San Francisco, listed as Facilities Operations Support Services Purchase Order. Women-owned business, small business set aside, unquote. Lee's firm was the only bidder. Now, all of this is included. I'll put the link to the document in the chat. But I don't feel like this is the kind of person that's set to lead Oakland, who spends all of their time enriching their personal self. So if this is the first time you're hearing a little bit about Barbara Lee's record, let me give you just a quick primer on some of the things that have raised red flags to me. Number one, Barbara Lee brags about bringing money to Oakland. She's running on her ability to bring resources to Oakland. But when we examine her record, it seems like the bulk of the resources she brought to Oakland went to defund the police movements. In addition to that, Barbara Lee let 3 professional sports teams leave on her watch. If she was so good at bringing resources to Oakland, what happened to the Golden State Warriors? What happened to the Oakland Raiders? What happened to the Oakland A's? And that's the big one, because she could have absolutely stepped in and helped save the A's, but where was she? Nowhere to be found. Now, while she brags about bringing home the bacon, she actually ranks 218th out of 450 in the House of Representatives. That is the bottom half. When you're under 50%, that is a failing grade. She doesn't even have a D. She has an F, just an F grade. An F grade in bringing home resources to her district. All the while, she ranks number 1 in international travel on corporate sponsored dime. Many of these companies funding her travel being healthcare insurance agencies, defense contractors, big tobacco, you name them. People who she claims she doesn't like, Trump supporters, the Duong family. Matter of fact, it is well known in Washington, D.C. among lobbying circles. And if you don't believe me, fact check me. If you want Barbara Lee to sign something or you need to get some motion with her and get a bill signed or get some support, all you have to do is send her family on a fancy vacation. That's the rumor. That rumor seems to be credible when you rank #1 in corporate funded international travel and you have a history of lavish five-star hotels and first-class accommodation for everyone in your family to travel and apparently do the business of the U.S. government. 218th in bringing home money out of 450. 218th ranked out of 450, the bottom half, in bringing resources back to your district. #1 ranked in international travel, traveling the world, feeling like a superstar. Is this what you want in Oakland, California? Do you really think this is going to help the city, or do you just not care about Oakland? It looks like the people who are voting for Barbara Lee do not live in poor neighborhoods. Just like the people who voted against the recall for Shingthao do not live in poor neighborhoods. The poor and working class of Oakland is desperate. It's starving. We have children in these encampments. We have mothers spending time trying to bring water home to thirsty babies sleeping in tents. 100% of women who are forced to live on the streets of Oakland are raped in the first 72 hours. There's no sense of urgency for the poor and downtrodden. All they want to do is continue their corruption and their grift. And the #1 reason why I believe that they are so desperate to get Barbara Lee in office is because the unions know that if Lauren's elected, he is going to bring people back to work. The workers were supposed to come back to work last week. Now all of a sudden it's extended to June. Why? They're hoping Barbara Lee wins so that she can continue this telework. We know every single time a public municipality is researched. This happened in San Francisco. This is happening around the country. Every single time you start to look into people who are still working remote, 3-4 years after COVID, what do we find? They have second jobs. They've moved out the city. How many workers who are union members have moved away from Oakland or even California and gotten second, even third jobs and continue to dial it in and take a salary from taxpayers while they're failing to deliver the services that we need? Not even mentioning that downtown continues to be dead. It's a doom loop down there because no one's coming to work and people are not coming to City Hall for services. And just, I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here? This should be an obvious election. Anyone who's voting for Barbara Lee needs their heads examined. Now, if you're voting for someone else on that list that's not Lauren Taylor because you managed to see them in a forum and heard like what they say and you want something different, I'm fine with that. I'm an independent. I think that we should not go left or right. We need to go up, down. Either you have integrity or you don't. That's why I always tell people I'm post-partisan. That's why I always tell people I'm post-partisan. Now, me personally, I would not be voting for Barbara Lee, and I'm not entertaining ranked choice voting this election because it's too dangerous and it gives too much room for people to manipulate elections. And you heard that right. You heard that right. We've called for Tim Dupuy to be fired. How do we have the register of voters who is also the head of IT for the county? It's like a match made in heaven to cheat. Anybody who is a data specialist, I challenge you to enter into a debate about the 2022 election where we have absolute smoking guns and proof that something funny happened in that election. And if you're hearing this and you want to go share this and say I'm crazy, step up to the plate and debate. Don't throw your shot from over there, from places that you banned me from and kicked me out of because you don't want to hear my voice. Step up to the plate and let's debate. Let's put it all on the table and let's talk about that 2022 election that we had a manual recount order from the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, but somehow Tim Dupuy slipped away because it's too expensive. It takes too long. Democracy is never too expensive. And any election that you cannot authenticate is illegal. Now I'm going to end my second rant. I wanted the first rant a little more polished. I wrote that one down and put it in my teleprompter. But this rant was not scripted. It was all from the heart. like it always is for me, to you, my audience in Gotham, Oakland. So to my neighbors, my supporters, and to my gang stalkers who watch this, I love you all. Peace. Till next time, see you Monday at Gotham Oakland.
Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.